everyone. On the behalf of organizing committee and the Center for Scientific Research and Development at People's University, Bhopal, India, I warmly welcome you all to today's webinar. Welcome to another engaging edition of BioConnect webinar series, a student-led platform designed to spark scientific curiosity and connect academic learning with real-world challenges. My name is Nandita Purohit and I am honored to serve as your MC today. This is a special session focused on the theme strengthening global health security through effective biorisk management, lessons from international practice. In an increasingly interconnected world, global health security is the foundation of a shared future. From laboratories that handle sensitive biological agents to international policies that govern them, effective biorisk management is a frontline defense against emerging health threats. Today, these systems demand rigorous quality management, strategic global policies, and continuous education to ensure compliance and accuracy. The stakes are immense. Safeguarding human health globally require a strong laboratory practice and international cooperation. Today's session explores how we can leverage international lessons to enhance our biorisk management framework and protect our population. Now, I warmly welcome Honorable Vice Chancellor of People's University, Professor Dr. Harish Rao, our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Ghaya Alwadini from Jordan, our mentor, Professor Dr. Subhash J. Bore, Head of the Center for Scientific Research and Development, and Ms. Nandana Tiwari, Organizing Committee Chairperson of this webinar. We sincerely thank all the dignitaries, faculty members, participants, and fellow students for joining us. To move ahead, it is my honor to invite the Honorable Vice Chancellor of People's University, Professor Dr. Harish Rao, to deliver opening remarks. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Nandita. Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished international speaker, uh, Dr. Gaya Alwadani, respected faculty members, researchers, healthcare professionals, laboratory scientists, students, participants joining us from India and around the world, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to BioConnect International Webinar Series, session number 19, organized by the Center for Scientific Research and Development, People's University, Bhopal. I extend my warm greetings and heartfelt appreciation to every participant who has joined us today for this important international academic event. Today's webinar addresses a subject that has become increasingly significant in today's interconnected world, strengthening global health security through effective virus management. The COVID-19 pandemic reminded the entire world that infectious diseases know no geographical boundaries. It also demonstrated that strong laboratory systems, responsible scientific practices, biosafety, and biosecurity are not optional. They are essential pillars of public health and sustainable scientific advancement. As science continues to advance at an unprecedented pace, our responsibility as educators, researchers, and healthcare professionals is equally expanding. Every laboratory must strive not only for scientific excellence, but also for safety, responsibility, quality, and ethical conduct. At People's University, we strongly believe that higher education should prepare students not only with knowledge, but also with professional values, global perspective, leadership qualities, and a culture of responsibility. This philosophy is beautifully reflected in our BioConnect webinar series, which proudly follows the theme for the students, by the students. This initiative provides the students with a unique platform to interact directly with internationally renowned experts, broaden their horizons, strengthen their professional competencies, and appreciate the importance of global collaboration in science and healthcare. I congratulate the student organizing committee for successfully planning and conducting this session of the BioConnect webinar series. We are indeed privileged to have with us today Dr. Raya Al-Wadani, an internationally respected expert in quality management of Biorisk management. Extensive experience in healthcare, laboratory quality systems, education, and national public health laboratories offer invaluable insight into international best practices. I am confident that today's session will greatly enrich the understanding of our students, faculty members, laboratory professionals, and healthcare practitioners. Global health security cannot be achieved by government alone. It requires collaboration among universities, research institutions, healthcare systems, laboratories, policymakers, and international organizations. Universities play a particularly important role by preparing the next generation of scientists who will not only conduct excellent research but also uphold the highest standards of biosafety, biosecurity, and ethical scientific practices. Today's webinar is an excellent example of how international academic partnership contributes to building safer laboratories and stronger public health systems. I would also like to appreciate the dedicated efforts of the Scientific Center for Scientific Research and Development under the leadership of Professor Subhash Janardhan More for continuously organizing high quality international academic programs that connect our students with globally recognized experts. Such initiatives significantly strengthen our university's academic ecosystem and contribute to our vision of excellence in teaching, research, innovation, and community engagement. To all participants, I encourage you to actively engage throughout today's session, ask questions, share your thoughts, learn from the international experiences presented today. Before I conclude, I once again extend my sincere gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Gia Al-Wadani, for accepting our invitation and sharing her expertise with us. I wish today's program great success and hope that it inspires new ideas, meaningful collaboration, and a stronger commitment to biosafety, biosecurity, and global health security. Now I will hand it over to our MC. Nandita, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those inspiring words. I now invite the chairperson of organizing committee, Ms. Nandana Tiwari, to share her welcome remarks. Ms. Nandana, over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Nandita. Good afternoon, and everyone. Honorable Vice Chancellor of People's University, Professor Dr. Harish Rao, our distinguished guest speaker, Dr. Gaya Alvadini, our respected mentor, Professor Dr. Subhash J. Bhore, Head of the Center for Scientific Research and Development, esteemed faculty members and researchers, distinguished guests from various institutions, my fellow students, and all the participants joining us from different parts of the world. It is my immense pleasure to welcome you all to the session 19 of the BioConnect webinar series, a student-led initiative of the Center for Scientific Research and Development, Department of Biotechnology and Microbiology, People's University, Bhopal, India. I am Nandana Tiwari, and I am proud to tell you that I am a MSc Biotechnology student at the Department of Biotechnology and Microbiology, Center for Scientific Research and Development, People's University, Bhopal. I'm honored to serve as the chairperson of the organizing committee for today's webinar. Today's session is particularly special as we are privileged to host an internationally recognized expert who contributed to advance the field of the laboratory quality management, healthcare accreditation, education, and biorisk management. I'm sure that we will get new insights into strengthening global health security through effective biorisk management. I would also like to express my sincere gratitude to our respected Vice Chancellor of People's University, Professor Dr. Harish Rao, for graciously joining us today to support our program. I would also like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our mentor, Professor Dr. Subhash J. Bhore, whose vision, guidance, and unwavering support continue to make the BioConnect webinar series a platform for meaningful scientific exchange and learning. A sincere appreciation is also extended to all the members of the organizing committee for their dedication and teamwork in making today's event possible. I encourage all the participants to actively engage during the session and take full advantage of this opportunity to learn from an expert of such remarkable international standing. With that, I once again extend a warm welcome to everyone present here today. I now have the pleasure of handing over the proceeding to our esteemed MC, Miss Nandita. Miss Nandita, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nandana, for those encouraging words. We are now ready to begin the core session, and this session will be moderated by Stuti Sharma, who will introduce our guest speaker and guide the session ahead. Ms. Stuti, over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Nandita. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Stuti Sharma, and I'm proud to tell you that I'm a BTech Biotechnology student at the School of Research and Technology, People's University, Bhopal. It is my pleasure to serve as the moderator for today's session. We are honored to welcome our distinguished speaker, Dr. Gaya Alwadri. Before our speaker takes over, let me briefly introduce Dr. Gaya. Dr. Alwadni holds a PhD and a master's degree in medical laboratory sciences. She is a distinguished laboratory specialist and former head of education, quality, and Biorisk management coordinator at the Ministry of Health Central Public Health Laboratory in Jordan, where she served for over 20 years. Throughout her career, Dr. Alwadni has led numerous training workshops in quality management systems, biorisk management, and train the trainer programs, earning recognition as a certified international training expert. She is also a healthcare accreditation consultant, supporting hospitals and healthcare centers in achieving accreditation readiness. Her leadership has been instrumental in developing national policies and guidelines for laboratory quality management, ensuring compliance, accuracy, and continuous improvement across the health sector. Dr. Alwadni is an active member of the Continuing Professional Development CPD Committee of the High Health Council, contributing to the accreditation of laboratory training activities and legislative review. She also serves on the Laboratory Technical Working Committee within the Jordan Accreditation and Standardization JAS unit. Previously, she was a member of the Strategic Advisory Group of Experts on In Vitro Diagnostics (IVD) at the World Health Organization, Geneva, where she contributed to global diagnostic policy development. Her work continues to inspire excellence in laboratory practice, education, and health system strengthening. With this brief introduction, it is my privilege to invite Dr. Gaya Alwadni to deliver a talk titled Strengthening Global Health Security Through Effective Biorisk Management. Dr. Alwadni, over to you.
Thank you, Stuti, and thank you all of you for this great opportunity to meet you all. And thank you to Dr. Subashi for this opportunity. As I say, good evening, good afternoon for you from Amman, Jordan. Today we'll start with a very long title, but I'm trying to share the slides first. The title of this session, it seems too long, Strengthening Global Health Security Through Effective Biorisk Management, Lessons from International Practice. It is so long yet, but every word in it earns its place. We have learned at extraordinary cost that a biological threat emerging is one community can, within days, become a threat to every community. Biological risk is no longer a purely national or a purely medical concern. It is a shared global security challenge, and biorisk management is the discipline through which we govern it. Over the next 40 minutes, maybe, I will move through 5 stages. Why this matters, the international frameworks that bind our response together, how biorisk management works in practice, the lessons that international experience has taught us, and finally, a practical way forward. So, what this session really covers again, let's set out the path before us. We begin by framing the challenge. We then examine the governance architecture, the treaties, standards, and initiatives that hold the system together. From there, we turn to practice, like how risk is actually assessed, controlled, and monitored. The fourth part distills the lessons of international experience, and we close with a roadmap and a reflection on the responsibility we each carry. The heart of this talk lies in the third and fourth part, but is the framing and the architecture that make those lessons meaningful.
Dr. Gaya, sorry for interruption. I just want to cross-check with you. Your video is off. I mean, we are not able to see you. Is it, I mean, you are using mobile, or if it's a laptop, maybe you can
It's a
just
laptop.
cross-check. Yeah.
It's a laptop.
Yeah.
It's a laptop.
Your
I
video
just
is
turned
off.
off the camera.
Okay. No problem. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Yeah. You know, about the internet, could be better if I close the camera.
Yeah. Please go ahead. No problem.
Yeah. So, framing the challenge, this is really what is matter. Consider for a moment that why biological risk has become a frontal security issue. So, let's talk about framing the challenge. The COVID-19 pandemic resulted in a more than 7 million deaths reported to the World Health Organization. And credible estimates of excess mortality place the true figure closer to 15 million. The economic tolls, as we go to the next square graph, the economic toll has been estimated at over 12 million United States dollars. And perhaps most telling of all, roughly 3/4 of emergent infectious diseases in humans originate in animals. These are not merely statistics only, they describe a human tragedy, an economic shock, and an ecological reality. That the origins of our gravest health threats lie at the meeting point of people, animal, and environment. I would ask you all to hold that last figure in mind as we shall return to it again. Let's begin with what do we mean by global health security? At its simplest, it is the set of activities across sectors and across borders required to minimize the danger and the impact of acute public health events. It resets upon 3 capacities: the capacity to prevent, which is stop avoidable threats at the source. The second one is to detect. And the third one to detect, see events early and accurately. And the last portion and the last criteria is to respond, that it acts fast and scale together. This triad, prevent, detect, respond, firmly keep it in mind, for it forms the spine of every framework we are about to discuss. The core concept of biorisk management, of course, you all know that biosafety meets biosecurity. At the core discipline of these two ideas that are often confused and that must not be like that. The first is biosafety. Biosafety, we all know, is protecting people and environment from the accidental release of or exposure to biological agents. It asks a single question: how do we prevent the agent from escaping by accident? So, as the definition of unintentional release in the WHO definition. The second is biosecurity, that is protecting valuable biological material from theft, loss, diversion, or deliberate misuse. It asks a different question: how do we prevent the wrong people from obtaining it on purpose? That, with the definition of the WHO, is with intent. So biorisk management is the discipline that unites them all: the systematic process of assessing, controlling, and continuously monitoring both safety and security risks together. Accident and intent managed under one roof. Three phases of what we mean by biological risk. Biological risk wears three phases. That is, the first one is natural, the spillover and emergence of pathogens from the natural world. This is by wide margin the most frequent source of outbreaks. The second one is accidental, the unintended release from a laboratory or a production facility through human error, equipment failure, or a weak safety culture. The third one is deliberate, the intentional misuse of biological agents of or knowledgeable to cause harm, low in probability but potential catastrophic is consequence. A credible system cannot specialize in one only of these. It must be able to hold all three types of biological risk. So why now forces biological biorisk is upward, and this is risk is not standing still? Several forces are pressing and steadily upward. Global mobility means of local outbreak can reach any city on Earth within of a day and a half. Urbanization concentrate populations and accelerate transmission. A changing climate is shifting the range of vectors and pathogens. High containment laboratories are proliferating worldwide. Advances in gene editing and synthesis are lowering the barriers to create hazards. What we term dual-use science and our tightly coupled supply chain transmit shocks across the global almost instantly. We are not therefore managing a static hazard, we are managing a growing one. And that is precisely the case for a managed systematic approach. The data bear this out with this graph. The frequency of outbreak events has risen markedly over recent decades. I want to be candid with you. Part of this rise reflects better surveillance. We now detect what we would once have missed. But even when we allow for that, the underlying trends is real. More frequent spillover and far greater connectivity, and turning local events into international ones with increasing regularity. Now we are going to part 2, which is the governance architecture, the international instruments that hold the system together. If that is the challenge, what have we built to meet? Let us turn to the governance architecture. layered system built over decades, over the timeline. The international response has assembled layer upon layer over half a century. It begins in 1975 with the Biological Weapon Convention. It was joined in 2005 by the International Health Regulation. Then in 2014 by the Global Health Security Agenda, and in 2019 by a dedicated technical standard, which is all know that ISO of Biorisk management, that is 35001. And in 2025, it was crowned by the adoption of WHO pandemic agreement. These instruments are now not competitors. They are complementary to each other, addressing a gap that others leaves. Let's take them by one. So if we begin with the International Health Regulation, the IHR. First, the International Health Regulation adopted in 2005. This is the legal backbone of global health security, a binding instrument under which 196 states parties commit to detect, assess, report, and respond to public health events of international concern. Two features deserve to emphasize. First, the regulation requires countries not merely to report events, but to build and maintain genuine core capacities in surveillance, in laboratories, and in response. Second, amendments agreed in 2024 and enforced since September 2025 strengthening the treaty provision on equity and on financing, and introduce a new tier of pandemic emergency, directly addressing weakness that we found in the COVID-19 response laid bare. So core capacity, notification, and 2024, all of this has been updated to the IHR. Let's see the framework, arms control, the biological weapon. The Biological Weapons Convention, in force since 1975, it was the first treaty in history to prohibit an entire category of weapons. And today, 187 states parties commit never to develop, produce, or stockpile biological weapons. Its moral authority is considerable, but I must be candid about its limitation. Unlike its chemical weapon counterpart, the convention possesses no formal mechanism to verify compliance. The gap is long-standing, and it's on one reason that the rigorous biosecurity at the national and internal and institutional level carries such a weight. Let's go now to the framework 3, the political initiative, the Global Health Security Agenda. Third, the Global Health Security Agenda, launched in 2014, unlike the instrument on either side of it, this is not a treaty, but a partnership, a coalition of countries, organizations, and stakeholders. Its contribution is to convert political will into concrete, measurable action organized around defined action packages, and to insist that health security is a multi-sectoral endeavor, drawing in on it health, but security, agriculture, and finance. It supplies momentum and accountability in the space between formal and legal instruments. Framework 4, the newest treaty, is the WHO Pandemic Agreement in 2025. Fourth is really the most recent, but but they voted like a 124 votes in favor, none against, of course, with 11 abstentions. It's only the second treaty. It's only the second treaty ever negotiated under the WHO Constitution after the Framework Convention on Tobacco Control. Its themes are prevention through a One Health approach, a new system of sharing pathogens and of benefits derived from them, and above all, more equitable access to vaccine, test, and treatment. I would ask you to be precise about its status, for it's often misreported. The agreement has been adopted, but it's not yet in force. It will be open for signature only once its annex pathogens access and benefit sharing is adopted, and it will be entered into a force after 60 ratifications. Its adoption is the beginning of implementation, not the end of it. Now we go to framework number 5, and what we are familiar with linked to biorisk management. It's the ISO of 35001. It's a management system for biorisk management published in 2019, where treaties set obligations. Now, this standard tells an institution how to meet them. It establishes biorisk management as an auditable management system built as a quality and environment management were before it. Upon the cycle that we always talk about is the cycle of plan, do, check, act, set policy and assess risk, implement controls and training, monitoring and audit, then review and improve. It's the bridge from high principle to daily practice. Now we come to the measuring of readiness. How do we know if capacities actually exist after all these layers? How we know that the frameworks are only as good as their implementation? How then do we know whether capacities truly exist? Joint external evaluation is a voluntary, transparent peer review assessment of a country's by IHR core capacity, second across technical areas to expose strengths. It's like self-evaluation after action. Reviews and simulation exercises complete the monitoring of framework. And what these assessments reveal is sobering. Preparedness remains uneven and globally insufficient. Detection has improved the most, as we talked before, but prevention and enabling function like legislation, financing workflows, and consistently lag behind. I would ask you to remember these illustrate how global health preparedness varies across 4 key function areas assessed through the joint evaluation, external evaluation, GEE, as Jordan has been experienced this external evaluation. Globally approach, here's what it shows. Prevent, it's marked by 41. Countries score relatively low in prevention capacity, such as surveillance, vaccination, and infection control, indicating significant gaps in stopping outbreaks before they start. When we come to detect, it scores 55. Detection capacity are stronger, reflecting a better laboratory system for disease reporting, but still not optimal. Response has 48 score response capabilities, including emergency operating and risk communication, remain moderate. So just an uneven readiness to manage health emergency. Enabling function got 36. These foundational capacity like legislation, financing, and coordination are the weakest globally, limiting sustained preparedness. If we want to interpret all these results, the uneven score highlight that while detection systems are relatively advanced and becoming more advanced, prevention and enabling function lag behind. This imbalance means global health security remains fragile. Countries may identify threats but struggle to prevent response effectively. Would you like me to connect these findings and how to laboratory contributes to each other? We will see how, with if we have the chance to discuss that, that would be gladly can have this discussion. Now, if we go to the connecting idea of One Health, connecting people, animals, and ecosystems, because most new threats emerge at the interface between species and environment. Biorisk cannot be managed by the human health sector alone. The one idea connects this entire architecture and follows it directly from the figure I asked you to hold a few minutes ago. The most new threats arise at the interface between species and environment. The idea is One Health, the recognition that human health, animal and plant health, and environmental health are a single integrated system. We cannot safeguard a population by guarding its hospital only, while neglecting its farm, its wildlife, and its ecosystem. And it is a measure of how far our thinking has matured that One Health is now written into both the International Health Regulation and the 2025 Pandemic Agreement, no longer as a slogan, but a commitment. So now we go to the part 3. I think what I've said before, 3 and 4 is the most important of this talk. From principle of biorisk management to procedure, how the system actually works. In practice, biorisk management follows a simple 3-part cycle, often abbreviated as initial, assessment, mitigation, and performance. Assessment, as we all know, identifying the hazard and characterizing the likelihood and the consequence of exposure or release. Secondly, we are talking about how to mitigate the risk, mitigation, what it is applying layered control to reduce that risk. And third, performance, monitoring, auditing, and reviewing. So the controls remain effective and improve over time. The essential point is that this is a continuous loop, not a checklist completed once. Risk is, as we all say, is dynamic. The agents, the people, the equipment all change. The findings of performance stage feed directly into the next assessment. Let us look closely at each stage. Now we are talking about assessment begins with deceptively simple formula. Risk is a function of likelihood and consequence. The question as shown allows what the agent are handled and what are their hazard, what procedure could generate aerosol or exposure, who could be harmed and how severely, what is the security value of materials health, what existing control are already in place. The matrix could be very helpful in scoring, in evaluation, and characterization of that risk. Now we come to the second criteria, second component of the A&B model is the mitigation, the hierarchy of controls from the most effective at the top, favor controls that remove the hazard over those that rely on human behavior. Once risk is understood, it must be controlled, and here lies one of the most important principles of our field, the hierarchy of controls. The controls are the top, as we said, that the most effective away from human behavior, and it's for the first time we can, if we can eliminate the risk or have what we call the substitution. With elimination, substitution, next come engineering control, containment, ventilation, biosafety cabinet, and all other controls concerning with engineering one. Then administrative control that we talk about always, the practices, the procedure, the training, the access rule, and only at the very bottom, person protective equipment. The common error is to reach first for protective equipment, yet it is the weakest control precisely because it depends upon human begins behaving perfectly every single time. The discipline of good biorisk management is to design the hazards out before we rely upon people to guard against it. Containment in practice, as we said, we focus on biorisk in practice, so we could now always say the biosafety or mention the biosafety level. This principle of matching control to risk is embodied in the familiar biosafety level 1 through 4. Level 1 is for well-characterized agent not known to cause disease, like university, schools. Level 2 for agents of moderate hazard. Level 3 for serious agent capable of airborne transmission, demanding specialized facility. And level 4 maximum containment for most dangerous agent for which no vaccine or therapy exists. The model refinement reflected in the World Health Organization latest biosafety manual, the 4th edition, is to let containment follow a local evidence-based risk assessment rather than a fixed label alone, thereby avoiding both protection and the waste of containment that a setting cannot sustain. Now we come to the security dimension. We have 5 pillars of laboratory biosecurity. If biosafety guard against accident, biosecurity guards against intent. It rests upon 5 pillars: the physical security, barrier, locks, and control access with all the example, personal reliability, the fitting, train, and accountability of those who handle the pathogen, the valuable microbiological organism, material control, the inventory and tracking of agents, the transport security, the safe and documented movement of materials, and finally, not least, the information security, the protection of sensitive data and dual-use knowledge. I would draw your particular attention to the second and the last, the human and the knowledge dimension. They are the hardest to enforce, and in our digital and dual-use age, increasingly the most consequential. Now we come to the human factor, governance and a culture of responsibility. Yet no system of rules or equipment is stronger than the culture that surrounds it. Rules fail when people do not believe in them. A genuine culture of biorisk management, safe and secure behavior is the default. Even when no one is watching, that is very important. If no one is watching, how is the human behavior? Its a foundation are clearer that the leadership, accountability, documented policies, continuous training, and critically, the psychological safety for staff to report a near miss without fear. For the difference between a near miss that is reported and learned from and one that is concealed and repeated is not, in the end, a matter of regulation. It's a matter of culture. This is the one, as I said, that third part and fourth is very important. Let's see what part 4 talking about. It's a lesson from international practice. What country experience teaches about what actually works. We have 5 lessons that travel across border. We must train. We must, which brings resources to determine of all this is the resources should be sustainable, like the financial, legislation and governance should be existed at single accountable authority, surveillance and detection as a real-time data integrated with the concept of One Health surveillance, the workforce culture, trained staff, and an embedded culture of responsibility, the international cooperation, trust, transparency, and rapid data sharing. Each lesson is examined and turned around from both high and lower resources setting countries. If we come to each of them, if you would lesson 1, like strong legislation and clear governance. The first lesson is the foundation. The countries that respond most effectively possess ambitious legal authority and the single body, clear, accountable for coordination, where the authority was ambiguous, response stalled in dispute over jurisdiction. Jurisdiction. Those nations that had established standing public health emergency laws and a designated coordinating authority acted decisively, while others were forced to improve their legal powers in the very midst of the crisis. The deeper truth is this: one cannot draft emergency legislation during the emergency, and the governance must build in a peacetime. Listen to about sustainable, predictable financing. Capacity that depends upon short-term external grants collapse when those grants come to an end. Programs built upon brief donor cycle repeatedly lost their trained staff and their momentum between funding rounds, the cause of false economies. If we talk about a country depending on such grants, that will get us unsustainable financing condition. The remedy is domestic ownership. Health security funded as a permanent national priority and not as a donor favor, with the predictability that allows institutions to plan and to retain their people. And let us state that economic case plainly: prevention and preparedness cost a fraction of the response. Lesson 3, surveillance and early detection. The third lesson is that we cannot respond to what we cannot see. Surveillance and early detection. The speed of detection set the ceiling upon everything that follows. Every day of delay multiplies the eventual cost. The strongest system integrates human, animal, and the environment, as we said, data under a single One Health framework. They report in a real time, and they are supported by laboratory networks reachable from every region. Where such systems with rehearsed and connected cluster were detected and contained elsewhere, those very same cluster became a national epidemics. Now we go to lesson 4, the workforce and culture of responsibility. The first lesson returns us to the human factor about the workforce and culture. The decisive variable, time, and again, was not the building, It was whether competent biosafety professionals were present and whether staff felt safe to report any problem or any incident. Facilities with active biosafety officer and no blame reporting culture identified the correct weakness, and the formal audits alone consistently missed. This is the least expensive lesson to act upon, and too often I'm very sorry to say that, the most neglected. Lesson 5, international cooperation and trust. The fifth lesson is the connective tissue of all the others and the most demanding politically international cooperation and trust. Pathogens do not recognize border, as we always said, and so our response must be faster than the spread, and that requires really trust. The early open sharing of pathogen sequences in past event enabled the development of diagnostic and vaccine within weeks. Where data were withheld and processes opaque, lives were, sorry to say that, were lost. This is why the pandemic agreement system for pathogen access, the one as we talked about, the 2025, benefit sharing matters so greatly. And let me put the argument at its plainest. Cooperation is not charity, it is self-interest. An outbreak contained abroad is an outbreak prevented at home. The reality, what we have to check about reality and persisting gaps, especially in lower resource setting. Preparedness in chronically underfunded, losing out to more immediate priorities. Trained professionals are in short supply. Human and animal surveillance systems often do not speak to one another. Containment and diagnostic capacity are unevenly distributed, and good laws exist on paper only without the capacity to enforce them. Underlying all of these is a cycle of complicity, investment surge after each crisis, then fades in the calm that follows. The pattern of panic and neglect is, I would argue, the single greatest structural enemy of global health security. That takes us to part number 5, the way forward. Let me turn then from diagnosis to prescription to the way forward, a practical roadmap and shared responsibility. From lesson to action, the 5 lessons translate directly into 5 practical steps. Legislate and assign clear responsibility. Fund preparedness domestically as a permanent line within the budget. Detect early through integrated surveillance. Invest in people and cooperate openly across borders. These steps are not strictly sequential. Progress upon any one of them strengthens the other, but if we must begin somewhere, it's the governance, the finance that unlock the rest. I would invite each of you to measure your own institute against these 5. Everyone has a role to play. It's a shared responsibility. And this is not the task of any single ministry. It is shared responsibility. Governments must legislate, fund, and coordinate. Academia and the research community must advance science responsibly and act as stewards of dual-use knowledge. Industry must build safe products and secure its supply chain, and civil society must sustain public trust and hold all actors the, to account. Each hold a piece that none of others can supply. Now, let's see what can we carry out of this room. If you take nothing else from this session, I would ask you all to carry 4 convictions from this room. First, the biological risk is shared security issue, globally, growing, and indifferent to borders. Second is the management must replace mere action, risk assessed, mitigated, and monitored continuously. Third, the framework works matter only when implementation makes them real. And fourth, the cooperation is not charity, but it's self-interested, for no nation secures itself alone. Let me leave you with a single sentence. The world is only safe as its least prepared community. Thank you all. Question and challenges our country experience are warmly welcome. I'll leave you with those very interesting and important selected resources. Thank you all for your attention. The sources behind this presentation listed here. And I would warmly welcome your question and just as much the own national and institutional experience, for it's from precisely such exchanges that these lessons are drawn. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Alwadni, for that insightful and thought-provoking presentation. Your experiences and practical examples have provided us with a deeper understanding of how effective biorisk management contributes to global health security and the safe advancement of biological sciences. We will now move into the interactive discussion segment. I would like to begin with a few questions before opening the floor to our participants. To begin, I would like to start with a broader perspective. Global health threats continue to evolve rapidly. In your opinion, what are the 3 most critical biorisk management priorities that every country should focus on over the next 5 years?
Thank you for this very important question. Strengthening, I will just summarize it as far as I could. The 3 most critical priorities are strengthening national laboratory system. Countries must invest in integrated tiered laboratory networks that can rapidly detect and confirm high-risk pathogens. This includes expanding molecular diagnostic capacity beyond capital cities, ensuring quality management systems are implemented consistently, and establishing real-time data sharing between public health, veterinary, and environment labs as we talk about the One Health concept. A strong diagnostic backbone is the foundation of early detection and rapid. Second critical issue is institutionalizing biosafety and security governance. Many countries still rely on fragmented or updated biosafety policies. Over the next 5 years, the priority should be development national biosafety and biosecurity framework aligned with the WHO, the ISO 35,000, and as we said, the global health security. Mandating risk-based facility assessment and certification, strengthening regulatory oversight for dual-use research, pathogen handling, and laboratory waste management. Clear governance reduce variability and ensure accountability. Number 3, critical point is building a competent, sustainable workforce. Human capacity remains the weakest link, as we all mentioned before, in many systems. Countries should prioritize competency-based training program for laboratory staff, biosafety officers, and emergency responders, continuous professional development and certification pathway, and last not least, embedding biorisk management into academia curriculum, as you trying to have webinar, but a curriculum, and it being established in many regional countries in our region. As a resilience workforce ensures that the system remain functional even during crisis. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Now, drawing upon your extensive international experience, having worked extensively in quality management and biorisk management, what common challenges have you observed across different countries when implementing effective biorisk management systems, and how can institutions overcome these challenges?
Oh, thank you. This is really a great point of view, and let's talk about what has been during my experience over looking back these challenges, whatever country, and there are globally, uh, have been talking about across the country. The challenges are surprisingly similar. Inconsistently implementation, limited resources, and gaps in organizational culture. Overcoming them requires leadership, commitment, structure system, and sustained capacity. If we talk about the inconsistent implementation of policy and standard, we have to overcome it by adopt standardization framework, such as the ISO we talk about, conduct regular internal audits and external assessment, establish national accreditation or certification program, consistently transfer policy into practice. This is one important thing. Resources constraints like infrastructure, equipment, and funding. Laboratories often struggle with outdated facilities, limited PPEs, personal protective equipment, or unreliable supply chain. A suggestion how we overcome this by prioritize risk-based resource allocation, as in the fourth edition manual, risk-based WHO biosafety manual, invest in scalable, cost-effective engineering control, strengthening procurement system and supplier management. A risk-based approach ensures limited resources are used where they matter most. Third is the gaps in safety culture and human behavior. Even with good system, unsafe behavior persists due to habits, lack of awareness, or weak supervision. How we overcome it? Overcome it by build a positive safety culture through leadership engagement and commitment, implement competency-based training and mentorship, encourage reporting incident or near miss without blame. Culture is true determine of whether biosecurity systems succeed or fail. Fragmented coordination, this is the fourth. Fragmented coordination between sectors, public health, veterinary, environment, and research sector often operate in silos. How to overcome it? Adopt one health coordination mechanism, establish joint surveillance and emergency response platform, promote cross-sector training and information sharing. Integration improves preparedness and response. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for those practical experiences. Now, since many participants today are students and faculty members, what role do universities and research institutions play in strengthening national and global health security? And what practical steps can academic institutions take to promote a strong culture of biosafety and biosecurity?
Great. This is very important for the academia and the research. University and research institutions are the intellectual engine of health security, really. They shape the next generation of scientists, like you all, generate new knowledge, and often serve as the first line to detection for emerging biological threats. The key roles would be innovation and research, like advancing diagnostic, surveillance tools, and pathogens characterization. Number two, training the workforce development by producing competent laboratory professionals, by safety officers and researchers. Three, early warning system. Academic lab often detect unusual pathogens before national system do. Again, policy influencing, providing evidence-based guidance to governments and international bodies. Now, if we gonna do how to do it from theory to practice, practical step to strengthen biosafety and biosecurity culture. One is to integrate biosafety into curricula for biology, biotechnology, medicine, and veterinary science. Number two, establish institutional biosafety committee, IBCS, with clear authority and accountability. Number three, implementing risk-based laboratory assessment and enforce compliance with the international standards. As we talk about the ISO, we talk about the WHO Laboratory Biosafety Manual. Five is to provide continuous competency-based training for student, researcher, and the faculty. Last but not least, promote responsible research practices, including dual use awareness, ethical review, and secure handling of biological materials. Academic institutions can become powerful drivers for the national resilience when they treat biosafety and biosecurity as core academic value, not administrative requirement. Thank you.
Okay, so technology is transforming biological research at an unprecedented pace. With the rapid advancement of artificial intelligence, synthetic biology, and genome editing technologies, how do you see the future of virus management evolving to address both new opportunities and emerging risks?
Thank you. This is very important, looking toward the future. Biorisk management will now shift from traditional containment focused approaches to dynamic technology enabled system that anticipated risk before they materialize it. How? How biorisk management will evolve that? By enabled risk prediction. AI would enable us to do that. Real-time monitoring of laboratory activities, anomaly detection, and automated incident reporting. This is concerning the AI. Digital biosafety system could help in electronic safety, biosafety manual, automated training modules, and virtual audits. Three, can enhance oversight of synthetic biology and gene editing, like stronger governance for the W research, DNA synthesis screening, and responsible innovation framework. Biosecurity by design, we can use that by embedding safety features into biological system. Global harmonization, international standard, and shared digital platform for reporting, certification, and compliance. The future of biorisk management will be more proactive, data-driven, and integrated across disciplines, combining biology, engineering, informatics, and ethics. Thank you.
I would now like to ask a question that will be especially valuable for our student audience. For students who aspire to build careers in biosafety, biosecurity, and virus management, what knowledge, technical skills, and professional certification would you recommend they pursue to become globally competitive?
I would be happily do that because we're trying to do that in our country for the student of the universities and colleges. The core knowledge I directed the student to go to core knowledge areas like microbiology, molecular biology, and infectious disease principles. Also, to laboratory quality management system like the ISO for the medical lab. This is the 15189, the ISO of 1725, and of course about learning, go deep into biosafety and biosecurity fundamentals, and of course how practically we can do the risk assessment and risk mitigation strategy, and of course the One Health concept and global health security frameworks. If we talk about the technical skills, they need to learn to conduct biological risk assessment, implementing engineering and atmosphere control, incident investigation and root cause analysis, safe handling of biological material and work, and emergency preparedness and response planning. If I had to recommend such certification, they'd be it's good to any student to have certified, number one, certified by risk management professional, that's CBRM, APSA international certification. This is the American Biosafety Biosecurity Association, Biosafety Biosecurity, IFBA, the International Federation Biosafety Association professional certificates for biosafety, biosecurity, and risk assessment. And of course, any training about the ISO 35001 for biorisk management. And last but not least, of course, laboratory quality management certification, the ISO 15189 auditor, or internal auditor training. These credentials help students stand out globally and demonstrate readiness for international roles. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the valuable guidance. Policies and guidelines are important, but their successful implementation depends on people. From your experiences as an international trainer, what strategies have proven most effective in building a sustainable culture of responsibility, safety, and compliance within laboratories?
Amazing. This is, well, through my experience, the most effective strategies we could, summarize it in number one, leadership engagement and commitment. When leaders model safe behavior, staff, of course, will follow. Competency-based training. When we are talking about practical training, hands-on training is far more effective than lectures and theory. Number three, the non-punitive reporting system, encouraging each one of the technology or the personnel to report if incidents and near misses without fear builds trust. Of course, continuous reinforcement. Safety culture is built through daily habits, not annual workshops. So when we are continuing performance, lab daily activities should be emphasized on. That made the continuous reinforcement and a safety culture is being built. Mentorship program like pairing junior staff with experienced biosafety mentors accelerates learning. Maybe also like twinning programs, and Dr. Subashi has been involved in that, at the twinning project with high sophisticated lab with low resources, and we all benefit experience, mutual experience from each other. Here, we need a clear standard operating procedure and visual cues like simple, accessible procedure and signage reduce error. This is a daily by day activities we needed as a lab informants personnel. Recognition and positive reinforcement, celebrating, for example, the good safety practices, motivates teams, of course, and encourage them to be more involved in implementation of biorisk management in their lab. Sustainable culture emerges when safety becomes part of identity, not just a compliance. Thank you.
As we approach the conclusion of today's discussion, if there is any one key message that you would like every participant to remember from today's webinar, what would it be regarding the importance of virus management in protecting public health and advancing scientific research responsibility?
Thank you, dear, for this question. If I can give a one key message for such a webinar coming from Jordan and the MENA region, I want everyone to be have this message. Biorisk management is not a technical requirement. It's a shared responsibility that protects people, strengthens health system, and ensures that scientific innovation benefits society safely. If we embedded responsibility, safety, and ethics into every laboratory activity, we build a future where science advances without compromising public health. Last but not least, as a sentence, biorisk management is not just a compliance, it's about protecting people and ensuring scientific innovation advances responsibly and safely. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gaya, for sharing your valuable perspectives. We will now open the session to questions from our participants. I encourage everyone to use the chat box or the raise hand feature if you would like to ask a question. So here we have one hand raised. Miss Nandita, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, everyone. Dr. Gaya, my question is, in your opinion, what is the most crucial gap in current global health security architecture that requires immediate attention?
I think that was answered in my talk. The critical, most critical, I put rather not one reason, different reason. We said about the laws and legislation. We talked about the finance. We talked about the sustainability and work resilience. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Now we have another hand raised from our participant. Miss Nandana, please ask your question.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Dr. Gaya. It was a pleasure attending your session. So
Thank
my
you.
question is, how should biorisk governance should evolve to address AI-enabled biotechnology and synthetic biology?
Can you repeat that, please? You're
How
talking
should
about the AI?
yes, ma'am.
How should what? Excuse me.
How should biorisk governance evolve to address AI-enabled biotechnology and synthetic biology?
You want some example? How can we just use the AI?
Um,
You said biorisk, how biorisk enhanced by AI using, am I getting you right?
biorisk governance evolve to address AI-enabled biotechnology.
I can give you some examples, like predicting such يعني using this as proactive, like predicting the coming risk from such a pathogen. We could use software for risk assessment, and we do have such software like that to evaluate and characterize such an existing risk. Number three, we can use it in the preparedness, or like we benefit from any previous incident report feeding. That's what comes into my mind.
So the next question from our participant is how we can handle virus in lab what IBSC have?
We can handle, again, how can we handle biorisk management in our lab? That will make the story from the first. Do you have a biorisk management in your lab? If the question is how to apply it, go through putting those core elements of biorisk management, convincing the management how to implement those, from the hierarchy of governance of these management to the smallest involvement of personnel. The commitment, we said about the commitment. But if you took it from how we handle biorisk management, if am I a technology, if am I a student, we will go through the skills we talk about, how to assist, how to mitigate, how to perform by doing the AMB model. If we're talking practically how to do the AMB model, and we have many workshops, how to apply the AMB model in your room, in your lab, how to go through that. We have such a template to have and emerge all the furniture, the design, the people, the scope of service, the pathogen we are dealing with. So this question is a very big, and we need a lot of workshops to do that. But I'm talking about biorisk, how to implement biorisk with all its challenges. Start with you as a technology, as a technician. Took these skills, take this AMB model. But it's the difficult part if you don't have the management commitment, because it will make your life very, very difficult in your lab, in your institute. So the ownership of all the one who's working in institute in implementing biorisk management. And to tell you the truth, you know about the accreditation of labs, and implementing the quality management system. That helps us a lot if you talk the language of biorisk management. Through the past 10 years, accreditation, either if it's national or international, has supported implementing of biorisk management, starting from the governance to the personal competency. So starting with understanding what is biorisk management, try to have the skills of risk assessment, mitigation, resources you have, and communicate with the management. Otherwise, management should communicate with and help in putting administrative control to go on with safe and secure environment for each one working in the lab. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, we have another question from our participant. Which of the forces pushing biological risk upward, like global mobility, climate change, and dual use science, do you believe possess the most immediate challenge to our current public health infrastructure, and why?
We mentioned in the slide that, right? So what is the question now? We mentioned all that, the mobilization, the urbanization, the dual use. What is the question of that? I didn't get the question, because we mentioned that in a slide. But what was the question? What is the most important, or what the least? What? Could you elaborate, please? The most important, it depends. It depends about the country. It depends. It depends at which country we are talking about. So let me go back to the slide you mentioned. Is the country about have low resources? That would be a very critical. Why it is getting more? Because if the country has a good surveillance to detect, that number would be high, would be go, because by time the things about detection, surveillance come updated. The laboratory, we have like climate change shifting from the ecosystem expand range. So we get more of detection if we have collaborate with the One Health concept. Dual use science in that country had a lot of researchers. It depends, as I tell you, interdependence and it depends on the country.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Gayalwadani, for your inspiring presentation and for generously answering our questions. Your expertise and practical insights have greatly enriched today's BioConnect webinar. On behalf of the Center for Scientific Research and Development, People's University, and all our participants from India and abroad, we sincerely appreciate your time and valuable contribution towards strengthening awareness of virus management and global health security. We wish you continued success in all your future endeavors. Now, I hand the session back to our MC. Ms. Nandita, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuti, for moderating the session so wonderfully. I now invite Bahar Kori to deliver vote of thanks on the behalf of organizing committee. Bahar, over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Nandita. Good evening, everyone. Respected dignitaries, distinguished speakers, esteemed faculty members, and participants. I am Bahar Puri, a proud BTech Biotechnology student from the Department of Biotechnology, School of Research and Technology, People's University, Bhopal. It is my privilege and honor to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing team and the Center for Scientific Research and Development. As we conclude today's enlightening session number 19 of the BioConnect webinar series, first and foremost, I would like to express a sincere and heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed guest speaker, Dr. Ghaya Alwadni, for delivering an insightful and thought-provoking talk titled Strengthening Global Health Security Through Effective Virus Management, Lessons from International Practice. Dr. Ghaya, your valuable expertise, practical experience, and global perspective has provided us with a deeper understanding of the critical role of effective virus management in safeguarding public health. We are truly grateful for your time and generous contributions to this academic platform. I would also like to highlight the unique spirit of People's University professor Dr. Harish Rao for his gracious presence and inspiring opening remarks. Sir, your continuous encouragement for academic excellence and student-led initiatives is highly appreciated. A heartfelt thanks are extended to all the respected dignitaries and faculty members who joined us today. Your presence and support have added immense value to this event. A special note of gratitude goes to our mentor and guiding coach, Professor Dr. Subhash Biorisk. Sir, your vision, leadership, and unwavering commitment have been instrumental in shaping the BioConnect webinar series. Your guidance continually inspires us to pursue scientific excellence and global engagement. We are thankful to our moderator, Ms. Tuti Sharma, for conducting today's session with remarkable professionalism and ensuring a smooth and engaging interaction throughout the program. I would also like to highlight the unique spirit of the BioConnect webinar series for the students by the students. The initiative reflects the power of student leadership, collaboration, and curiosity. By connecting learners with renowned experts from around the world, it creates meaningful opportunities for knowledge exchange, innovation, and academic growth. To all our participants and attendees, thank you for your enthusiastic participation, thoughtful questions, and active engagement. Your involvement has truly contributed to the success of today's session. Finally, we wish to place on record our deepest appreciation to the management of People's University for their unwavering support and encouragement. Your belief in student-driven academic initiatives like the BioConnect webinar series empower us to learn, innovate, and strive for greater achievements. With these words, I once again thank everyone for their valuable presence and contribution to making this session a grand success. I now hand over the proceeding back to our MP, Ms. Nandita, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Bahar, for expressing our gratitude so warmly. Dear participants, please take a moment to fill out the feedback form. The feedback link has been shared in the chat box, and we will pause for 2 3 minutes to let you fill the feedback form. Thank you for your feedback. Your e-certificates will be sent to your registered email addresses shortly. In case you don't receive an email from us, don't forget to check your spam folder. With this, we come to the close of today's session of BioConnect webinar series. We look forward to seeing you at many more enriching sessions ahead. This is Nandita Purohit signing off on the behalf of student team People's University, Bhopal, India. Thank you all and wishing you a wonderful day ahead.